So friends and guests, we're going to begin at this time. Just want to first make sure that we've turned off our cell phones or anything that could be of an interruption. I ask that you just mute that, and let's really gift this time to our beloved here today and to this family. We're going to start with a beautiful ceremony today, and that will begin here with a beautiful song played on the pipes to honor that lineage here for this family. If you need anything, please, there's some staff here that are able to provide you what you need. Kleenex might be a good thing to hang on to. Thanks so much. Let's begin.
You look at me, babe, I wanna catch on fire. It's buried in my soul, like California gold. You found the light in me that I couldn't find. So when I'm all choked up but I can't find the words, every time we say goodbye, baby, it hurts. When the sun goes down and the band won't play, I'll always remember us this way. Lovers in the night, though it's trying to ride. We don't know how to rhyme, but damn, we try. But all I really know, you're where I wanna go. The part of me that's you will never die. So when I'm all choked up but I can't find the words, every time we say goodbye, baby, it hurts.
When I come to the end of the road and the sun has set for me, I want no rights in a gloom-filled room. Why cry for a soul set free? Miss me a little, but not too long, and not with your heads bowed low. Remember the love and the joys that we once shared. Miss me, but let me go. For this is a journey that we all must take, and each must go alone. It's all part of the Master's plan. It's a step on the road to home. So when you are lonely and sick at heart, just go to the friends we know and bury your sorrows in doing good deeds. Miss me, but let me go. Friends and family, I take this opportunity to officially welcome you here. My name is Godwin Young, and it is my honor to be here today as your celebrant, your MC. Our time in this setting will be about 45 to 60 minutes, depending on how many of you are going to come up and share some awesome memories. But people often tell me, you should just get through this 30 minutes and get it over with. I just can't do it. People are worth more. If I can spend an hour on Netflix, I can spend 2 hours honoring a life. So when we think about the things we do in a day that just are mindless entertainment, I trust that you'd agree to sit here for a little bit, to pay homage, to commemorate, to celebrate, to honor this beloved family. It's a small ask. So if I exceed 60 minutes, come talk to me in the parking lot later. I got some hockey crew here. Just a quick update for those that need it. When you exit these doors, there's washrooms on either side, down either hallway. Apparently these are the closest ones, but you'll find them on either side. I want to take an opportunity to also welcome our live stream guests, those of you that are watching from wherever you are. We know you'd love to be here, and we are grateful that you took the opportunity to join us via this media. But we'll be thinking of you today, and I have some comments from some of you, I believe, so we're going to share those on your behalf, and we'll keep you in our hearts as well, so thank you for attending. What a beautiful ceremonious start to this event, this commemorative event, this memorial, this celebration of life. But we're heavy-hearted today, understandably. There are a million other places that we would rather be than here, clutching Kleenex and feeling our hearts heavy, and the goosebumps and the nerves and the anxiety. So many other places we'd rather be. But trust me when I tell you, you are exactly where you need to be. There's a few people that sit before me that need you, and you've shown up for them, and you continue to do so. So thank you. You see, the weight of this grief is different for each of you. Every relationship, whatever it may have been, with this beloved JoJo on the go-go, it was yours. And we're going to honor that relationship today. This is what communities are supposed to do. This is the way it's been happening for centuries. To come together, to support one another, to say, you know what, I'm here for you. Here's a shoulder if you need it. To open your arms and say, I got a hug for you. Hugs say more than words could ever say. And I know in our spirit we want to say the right thing to a family, so we come up with the typical cliches, but I want you to know you sometimes don't have to say anything. You just have to be present. Just open your arms. It says, I got you. I'm here to comfort you. I've heard that HUG, H-U-G, stands for Help Us Grow. I prefer Help Us Grieve. So today, during the reception, I trust that there will be a few of those. Their healing, their medicine, that embrace. And through all of this, what today represents is a step, just another step closer on this journey, this grief journey, this marathon. And whatever I can do to contribute to that is why I'm here, is to help for this next piece, this celebration of her life. One of the things I've heard in the grief circles is that we have to face what we're dealing with. There's these stages, they call them. You may be familiar with the shock and the pain and the anger and the bargaining and the denial and all these things that many of us, almost all of us, have probably gone through already and still going through, because it just doesn't happen in a linear way. As you know, there's going to be good days and bad days, and there already has been. But we're going to talk about some of the more beautiful days today, some of the more beautiful memories, because in doing so, she continues to live on, and that's what we want. But right now, it's hard to understand. You know, it's attached to pain and confusion. It's kind of unbelievable that someone so remarkable is gone so soon, and what we would have done to have her for 80 more years, however many more. We just don't get to make that decision. 80 might be a little much. And I'm not here to take the pain away. That's not my role. You might get a bit upset, but I'm going to ask you to lean into that pain. Lean into that sadness. Say hello to it. We have to make these emotions our friend. They're here to teach us. They're here to help us grow. And although what we share here today does bring some level of comfort, the various tributes and stories, her absence is still felt. And the only thing that helps and the only thing that seems to bring any solace is time. Time and connection. Raise your hand if you'd agree JoJo was a connector. Yeah. And she'd want us to connect in this way. And she'd want us to keep connecting. So I want you to feel into it. I'm going to take you on a bit of an emotional roller coaster of tears, laughter, smiles, sadness, joy, because it's important that we embrace them all. And know that it's okay to laugh. It's okay to smile. I think that's what she would want. She loved a good celebration, so she'd want us to do our best to celebrate her. She'd understand that we're sad and that we're going to mourn, and that's part of it. But she'd want us to celebrate. You know, I share a lot of this from my own experience. It's probably about 27 years ago that I lost my mom. And I was crying about her last week. It gets lighter, but it doesn't go away, and nor should it. After 20 years of this work, I've always heard people say, I'm looking for closure, and I'm like, wow, I'm not trying to close my mom out. I'm trying to build a new relationship with her absence. I'm not trying to close the door on anything. I'm not looking for closure. I'm looking for openness, open-heartedness, open-mindedness, to understand that she has blessed me and blessed my family. And while she was here, she made a difference just like Joe did. And we're going to talk about that here today. So just trust and know that healing does come in your time, not in anybody else's time. No one can say, you know what, it's been a year or been 2 years, you know, you think this or that. No. 27 years, I'm still dropping tears. A little bit of an MC too, just so we put that out there. Because everybody's journey is different. Everybody's relationship. So as family and friends and colleagues, we walk this journey together. And what you are experiencing is by far life's most difficult experience. And quite often people come to a service or a celebration of life and it conjures up feelings of your own loss. Maybe you have someone that you're missing, and you come to a day like today, and it just brings all of that emotion up again. Our thoughts are with you, but it's actually pretty beautiful. If the person you love is coming into your mind today, we welcome that. Just like we're here to honor Joe. So through music, through pictures, through stories, through some laughter, we're going to honor her. We're going to create an everlasting memory of our beloved Joanne. It's kind of upsetting that society has trained us to fear this, you know, to just get it over with. You got 3 days of bereavement. We need you back to work. Wow, it's disturbing. Someone has died. Someone very special, but more importantly, that person lived a remarkable life. So in 3 days, I'm supposed to plan a funeral and grieve and deal with my family and deal with the phone calls and the emails, and I'm supposed to come back to work? You know, my dad, he was one of those guys that said, when I go, I want no service by request. I know that what he was doing was trying to save us from a day like today, but it's actually a disservice to not do what we're about to do here today. To say, you know what, I just need to get back to work. I just want to get this over with. Let's just get this cremation done or this burial and let's carry on. Hell no. She deserves more. Each of you deserve more. So if you happen to be one of those people that might think, you know what, I don't want this when I go, hate to surprise you, but it's actually not for you. It's about you. But it's for the people that you touched in your life. And that's why you're here, because this woman touched your life and made a difference. So I told my dad, when you're gone, you're not going to know. We're having the biggest celebration that you'll... Something he's not too fond of, but it is what it is. We're here to honor, in his own words, the most amazing, beautiful, absolutely full of love wife, mother, daughter, sister, cousin, niece. And remember, it's about Joanne, but it's for you. So thank you for coming here today to lift up this family, soulmate to James, a precious and cherished mom to Cassandra and Charlotte, Cassie and Charlie, a loving daughter to Wendy, a supportive and fun-loving sister to Leah and Christine, and we think of Joanne's favorite brother-in-law, Fred. We also lift up uncles. I think you got that, nobody else did. We also lift up uncles Doug, Grant, and Ken, and of course all the cousins. We lift up Brian and Brenda, we think of Adam. We also lift up Barb Simmers, who also loved her dearly. There are many that find comfort in thinking that there are those that have gone before her to light her way, and there are some. We think specifically of her dad, Bill. We think of her father-in-law, Neil. We think of Grandpa Ken. We also think of her first dog, Basil. Some of you remember Basil. I'm going to just share a quick reading before I invite Pastor Ashby to come forward and share a few words. This one comes all the way from Edinburgh, Scotland, from Joanne's two aunts, Auntie Edna and Auntie Lorna. Thank you for those words. If you're watching or seeing this after, again, we're grateful for these words and your spirit here today and offering this love to your family. It says, we both live in Edinburgh, Scotland, along with many other family members. It goes on to say, they developed a close bond with Joe and all the family and wanted to share their thoughts. She says, "Hi, James, Wendy, Cassie, and Charlotte, and all the members of the family and friends. Greetings from Scotland. Lorna and I have many happy memories of Joanne. There's a photo you'll see here on the slideshow that was taken in 2000 on our way to the airport after a lovely holiday, when she presented us each with a little Canuck bear, which we still have and cherish. Joanne came to Edinburgh with Grandpa Ken. She loved the history and the age of everything, even venturing over the border to England, returning with a full-size sword from some ancient battlefield, and even managed to get it back into Canada. Lorna and I both attended Joanne and James' wedding, a wonderful day with all the family present, and these are the memories that we shall always treasure. Our special thoughts today are with you, James, your two beautiful daughters, and Wendy. May they bring you much comfort in the days ahead. Our love to all the folks gathered here today. Joanne will always be remembered forever. Thank you, Auntie Edna and Auntie Lorna. So, folks, I'll take this opportunity to welcome Pastor Bill Ashby forward to come and share a few words. As a close friend of the family, we're going to invite you to offer your comments. Thanks so much, Pastor.
It's an honor for me to be standing in front of you today. I'm going to try and read this from my phone, see how well I do. My name is Bill, and I am here representing my family. Our son, Jaden, who's sitting out there. Our son, Joel, who's sitting up here. My wife, Bonagine, who's unable to be with us today here. And I'm just a spokesperson on behalf of the Ashby family. We've known, I can't call you James, Jamie since 1994, when we moved to North Delta and Jaden began playing on the same hockey team in North Delta. We will never forget sitting in the rink and yelling at the refs. Then a few years later, when Jaden and Jamie and others, maybe some others in the room that played on the hockey team, the Riot, anyone? Okay. We would go to some of those games, and that is where we may not have yelled at the refs as much as we were thinking, don't get hurt, guys. And that's where we met Joanne. This tall, elegant, soft-spoken, caring young woman sat in the stands with Allison, Jaden's wife, Bonagine, my wife, and little Jaylene, who is also here, Jaden's daughter, and me. And no matter what happened with Jamie or Jaden in the ride on the ice, we were all in a good place with Joanne on the other side of the glass. She brought warmth and calm and a genuine interest in everyone. Then as the years passed and Joanne became Jamie's beloved wife, the relationship with our family continued. Anytime Jaden, Allison, Joel, Katie, Bonagine, our grandkids and I saw Joanne, she was thoughtful, sweet, conscientious, and always very present in our conversation. It was easy to feel safe with her. Jamie and Joanne were always welcome at the Ashby family gatherings, and a few times they joined us. And Joanne glowed with love for Jamie, for Cassandra, and Charlotte. When Joanne was diagnosed with cancer, each one in our family held her close in our thoughts and in our prayers. Bonagine and I visited Joanne in the hospital, and also on September 1st, we spent part of the evening with Joanne, Jamie, Cassie, and Charlie at their home. And there again, even though Joanne was in pain and feeling weak, she was that same warm, pleasant, caring person we knew her to be. I was a pastor in this church for 17 and a half years, and now serve full-time as divisional chaplain to the RCMP. Bonagine wanted very much to be with me today at this celebration of Joanne's life, but she's in Saskatchewan on a family matter. Jamie, Wendy, and also to Leah and Christine, Cassie, and Charlie. We want you to know that we consider you part of the extended Ashby family. We love you and will always remember and love Joanne. I want you to know as well that Joanne's love for you will never diminish, but will continue. You know that. Nothing can separate us from love. May I offer a prayer? As I share these thoughts, I invite all of us in this room to draw from the various faith traditions with which you are familiar, that are represented in this celebration of life. And also for those who do not embrace a faith background, please use the ideas you hear expressed to motivate you to your highest thoughts. And together let us find common ground in our gratitude for Joanne, and also in our comfort as we feel the pain, the loss, and the emptiness that Godwin has been talking so eloquently about. Shall we pray? To you who is known by many names or by one name, we thank you for the gift of Joanne to us. We ask for an exchange of strength, comfort, and peace as we hand you our pain, emptiness, and loss. Thank you for the hope that Joanne is enjoying a vibrant, joyful life beyond death. And for the hope that we again can see her and be with her. May the light and love of her life continue to glow for Jamie, Cassie, Charlotte, Wendy, and all the family. Humbly, I present these thoughts. Amen.
Thank you so much, Bill. So folks, it may seem uncommon, it may seem like not the norm, but that's how I operate. So when I feel that when people come forward to share their sentiments, of course, Bill, a seasoned speaker, but it doesn't matter. I think it deserves to be acknowledged. So as people come forward today, this is a celebration of life. We're going to clap and say thank you for your tribute, and we want to offer that to you today, Bill. Thank you so much. I love how he used the word gratitude, because that's what this is about, is to share our gratitude, to say thank you, Joe, for what you've done, for how you filled my heart. You know, I Googled the meaning of the name Joanne, and it means God is gracious. Whenever I'm struggling in life with how to decipher through some of life's biggest challenges, I have a go-to prayer as well. And it simply says, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Give me the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Wisdom to know the difference. You know, when it comes to children, super confusing. And we never know what to tell them. And I struggle with this to this day. But I heard an example one time of flowers and how people, each of you, are a flower. Joanne was like a bouquet of flowers. She brightened your day. She warmed your heart. She was beautiful, pretty confident. She smelled good. Not so much after hockey, but anyways. But just like flowers, they're there to brighten our days. They're there to warm our hearts. They're there to comfort us. They're there to give us that feeling of, oh, wow, so beautiful. But then they'll fade. And they'll go. Just like each and every one of us. She was an amazing flower in this man's life. I'm going to invite him to come forward and share his words at this time.
I normally prefer to not speak with a mic, but I'll give it a go. Good afternoon, family, friends, coworkers, neighbors, and anyone else. Joanne must have had an impact on your life because you're all here. Thank you all so much for coming to celebrate the life of my best friend, Joanne Louise Reed, who later became my wife, the mother of my children, Joanne Louise Simmers. I also know there's some former students out here in the crowd, and I know you all hated me at least a little because I used to make you do public speaking. Well, this right here is why you practice public speaking. There's a time in your life when you must step up and deliver. And Joanne was amazing. She stole my heart and saved me when I was a bit of a lost young man. I was confident on the surface, but inside, I was plagued by a lot of self-doubt, and I couldn't really see where I was going to go in life. And Joanne trusted me, she supported me, she made me feel safe enough to try. It didn't matter if I failed at first, because she'd be there to help pick me up. So how did it all begin? I was at an SFU pub night, which was strange in itself, because I'd gone there for 4.5 years and never went once. But I was single, and I was fresh off of a long-term relationship, and a couple of my friends suggested, let's just go to the pub night and act like fools. So that's what we did, and we started going every week. And one night, right around the time of the second ever Olympics with NHL players was happening, we went to the pub to act like fools intentionally again. And now who walks by but a young lady wearing a Team Sweden jersey? And now Sweden had just lost to Belarus with like a slap shot from center ice. It was terribly embarrassing for their entire country. And it was a huge upset. So what do? You know, class act that we are. Belarus! Belarus! Say it over and over again. She stops, she looks angry, and then she comes over and she sits right down. She started talking hockey with us, and we decided to get her drunk. And I'd love to say that it was love at first sight, but honestly, I didn't see her again for months. And the next time we saw her, she was wearing, I think, the away, the blue that time. And we said, hey, Sweden, come sit down. And her eternal nickname was born in that moment. And we called her Sweden for years, and later when we got married, her and I called ourselves Team Simweden. We were just friends for over a year. She came and watched hockey with us, and we all adopted this sweet, innocent, loving lady. Eventually, my friends started bugging me about dating her, and I was like, no, it's not like that. We're just friends. And then one day she came out and hung out after the annual Canucks Halloween game. And she was wearing a Viking outfit with a helmet and a shield, and all of a sudden, I noticed her. All of her. And I realized I liked all of it a lot. And shortly after that, I went to Europe, and my brother and I were there for 3 weeks. And near the end, he said, you need to ask this girl out. You've been talking about her every single day. He's like, we're going to Paris tomorrow. I'll pay. It's the city of love. You need to do this. And so I did. And when I got home, I told her, I'm taking you on a date. And then I said, well, I got to keep the second part private because there's children present. And that time it was love at first date. She helped me through my teaching training, and before you know it, we were living together. She started playing hockey as an adult, and I'm coaching women's teams. I had to learn to tone down my language quite a bit, and dial back the intensity as well. But we so enjoyed our 20s and early 30s, and we played a lot of hockey. We played it on our own teams, we played it in co-ed, we played it in tournaments. And once we were married, she looked at me a few months later and said, "Hey, Simmers, you know all those things we talked about doing when we're older and married?" And I said, "Yeah, what about them?" And she said, "Well, you have 8 days to apply for your master's, or we're going to start having kids." Whew. So being like a lot of men, I got my master's. And shortly after that, I did have a traumatic brain injury at work. I couldn't work for about a year. I sat in a dark room for 2 full months. Joanne fulfilled her in sickness and health clause from when we got married. I had social anxiety like I had never experienced before, and for years I needed Joanne to be at my side to help me make decisions. She was my safe place. And now I want to revisit that first story of the first time we met. She told me I was there. I was stood up by another guy, and I was leaving angry and sad when you yelled at me. And she told me many times, she thought to herself, I can leave now, I can be angry, I can be mad, or I can sit down and try and make something good from this night. And that was Joanne in a nutshell. She was always able to find solutions. She always wanted to help other people. She always found a way to look at the positive side of things. I owe that guy who didn't show up a lifetime of gratitude. Thanks, bud. Because instead of you, I got to be that guy. And I got to find my best friend, my soulmate. I got 20 plus years of complete love, trust, and support no matter what. I got these 2 beautiful, intelligent, strong-willed, amazing girls because Joanne chose, as she always did, to try and look at the positive in the situation and to look for a solution. She was always helpful, whether you were a family, a stranger, didn't matter. She had a gift for making people feel comfortable, important, valued, and worthwhile, no matter what they were going through or what they were experiencing. And all Joanne really wanted to be was a mother. She said it all the time. She wanted to be as great as her mother. And I've had the privilege of living with her mother, Wendy, for the last 3 years. And Wendy is tenacious. She is caring, she is loving, and she is full of fight. And Joanne was that too, and she was the best damn mother I'd ever seen or known. She was crushed when she was given her diagnosis. I remember her looking at me and saying, "Tell me this isn't happening," and I had to tell her it was. Shortly after that, she told me that I was the only thing in the world that made her feel safe. And so I took a year and a half off work to be there for her. She'd done the same for me. It was a no-brainer. I loved her. She needed me there. And I was there. And so was her mom, or Granny, as our girls call her. Her father, Bill, he died of colon cancer that spread just like hers. I never got to meet him. But all I heard was that he was a tremendous man whose impact has lasted long since he departed. So not only do I remember Joanne as being every bit of an amazing mother as her own, like Wendy, that she too will leave a lasting legacy of love that will stretch through our lives just like Bill did for her. And right to the end, even when she couldn't walk anymore, she was online helping out people new to the online cancer community, telling them, giving them strength, showing them how to advocate for themselves. Because that's what she did this whole time. I was told since she was passed that she was so helpful to other moms, to neighbors, and strangers as well. And Joanne and I used to always say that we were old, saggy, and ugly, that we will still be with our best friend. And I tell my students that every single year. And even as Joanne was enduring 37, you just can't imagine, chemotherapies, multiple surgeries, and eventually even a week of radiation, when I looked her in the eye, all I ever saw was my best friend. I'm so grateful for having had Joanne in my life. And I'm also equally crushed and saddened by her loss. I'm determined to live up to her legacy and to raise my kids the way that she and I always discussed doing. And Cassie and Charlotte, your mom loved you. You know that, right? And when you're older, you'll realize what she endured so that she could be here as long as she could possibly be. And she defied all the odds. She continued to look for solutions just to be with us longer. And near the end, she told the girls and I, when I die, cancer will die too. And so I will kill the cancer, and I will win. And that's the spirit that drove her this whole time. So Joanne was a champ. You'll see it in the videos. She will be remembered as a true champion who exemplified every positive trait that being a champion entails. And I've talked to many of you lately, and over the last 3 years, I've spoken of my intense worry about not knowing how to do so many things. Every day I find out another thing that Joanne just took care of. And you've all been very, very reassuring. It's easy, you got it, it's going to be fine. But it didn't take away my worry. But as I faced this steep learning curve of being a dad all on my own, I found that every time I do learn something, or I do something new, that my worry gets a little bit smaller. And Joanne believed in me, and now I just need to believe in myself the way that she did. I was at the bank 2 days ago with my sister, trying to be brave, trying to face things head on, trying to get our WestJet travel dollars from our canceled trip into my name so I can take these girls on a trip soon. And my sister's there. She's my safety blanket to help me out if I get too emotional. I asked her to look through Joanne's phone. I look over, and there she is. She's looking for WestJet passwords or anything to do with WestJet. And she smiled and said, I believe this is for you. Joanne left a note on her phone. It was a message for me. Of course she did. She was ever the organized, loving planner. I'm going to read it to you now. Please try. Our love has been easy. Always trust, always kindness, and always each other. It's always been you. And it's always been you too, Joanne. And we will do you proud.
Thank you so much, James. Beautiful. Some of you may have heard that story and think, wow, to get a love like that, to get a relationship like that, a connection like that, all I got to do is hang out at the pub on Thursday night and get someone drunk? It's not that easy. Well, we're grateful for that example of love, of staying true to vows, of marriage, of connection, shining example. Our hearts are with you, my friend. Joanne was born in Richmond on August 18th of 1982 at about 9:10 p.m. to Wendy and Bill. She weighed in at a whopping 9 pounds, 3 ounces. She was a very cuddly child, and her favorite place to be was in the lap of either mom or dad to receive some of that hug time and story time. She was a happy baby, as Wendy said, and of course, Dad elated with her presence. And like most of us, she had her favorite blankie, but it wasn't long before she turned that in for Barbies and American Girl dolls. She loved to be with her sisters, Leah and Christine, who included her in their play, which was mainly Barbies as well. A short story was shared about, Joanne always being sad when they had to leave the Barbies and go to school. And she would think that the Barbies were off having fun without her. Until she finally started school and figured out that home wasn't so bad after all. She enjoyed school. She loved to learn. She was enrolled in Brownies. She had a great time playing t-ball. She developed a love for the outdoors from spending time at Grandpa's Whistler cabin with cousins and extended family Eventually, Wendy and Bill bought and purchased a lot in Pender Island, which would be a serenity that brought with it countless good times and countless memories, trips out in the boat and various other adventures that kept Joanne and these girls' adventurous spirits intrigued by wonder. I believe it was on Pender Island where there was an eagle or a family of eagles living on the property. Is that correct? Is that Pender? Oh, at the house. Thank you for clarifying. Eagles nonetheless, and that was something that she loved. They lived up in the tree on the property, and she loved eagles. You know, in my indigenous lineage, eagles are a very sacred animal. There are many teachings around the eagle about how they're so protective over their young, fiercely protective. And in First Nations teachings, the eagle actually represents love. It is said that because it flies the highest of all the raptors, that it's the closest animal to Creator. So in Indigenous teachings, we attach our prayers and our wishes metaphorically to them. Their feathers are sacred in our ceremonies. And as mentioned, we offer prayers and wishes and hope for those that have gone before us or for ourselves. I have 2 eagle feathers here. And as a symbol of the softness and the fierce protection and love that Joanne had for her beloved daughters, I want to offer one to each of you in memory of Mom. If there are any other children here, I have a gift for you as well. But you're going to have to meet me after the service because we're going to have a very special ceremony for just you kids. Just us. Yeah, you can bring your parents if you want. But we're going to have a very special ceremony before when we're in the reception. We'll exit and do our thing. So Joanne was all about the kids. And she'd want to pour love and life into each of you. So I'm going to do that on her behalf. But back to the adventures of the family, sleeping in tent trailers and exploring the beaches for hours. It was a wonderful way to pass summer days. In her preteens, she continued on in Girl Guides, earning her all-round cord and Canada cords. Any other Girl Guides here? Oh, there's a few of you. What? Oh, nice. There were so many beautiful memories of these younger years, a family traveling together to Disneyland, epic memories of stopping at AM/PM stores or gas stations. You know, one time having to order burgers because they were so hungry. Didn't matter that they were probably the most disgusting, dry, closest thing to biting into a hockey puck type of burger that they ever had. I mean, these burgers are so bad that it actually made it into this eulogy. That's how bad these burgers are. You know, stories were shared of Dad. His language, I understand, was as colorful as our currency and had a great sense of humor as well. And just like Joe, she didn't flinch at anything. She always remembered how competitive hockey could be. She loved Disneyland and all its movies, especially Little Mermaid and Aladdin. A trip to Disneyland in the family car was always something she spoke so highly of. Basically, anything to do with the world of Disney, and this family is game. Some more wonderful early years were shared when fond memories arose of helping Mom Wendy with her crafts. All of the girls did. You see, their fingers were tiny, and they could do things that adult fingers couldn't. But it became a family pastime. They would plan new crafts, make creative new items, thoroughly engaged in the design and creation was Joanne. And the most fun part, I understand, was actually shopping for all the necessary supplies. And this was before the online shopping era, of course. Leah and Christine might remember they call these epic adventures the reconnaissance shopping. They even had a mantra. We must visit every Michael's store and buy everything that they have that we need. This wasn't just about making crafts, though, for they would then be at every Christmas market in the Lower Mainland, selling their wonderful creations. You know, Wendy, what a wonderful way to spend quality time with your girls, empowering them, teaching them, leading them. Raise your hand if you have any one of Joe's creations. Yeah, quite a few of you. Raise your hand if you have one of these beautiful blankets here. I know that these are a staple in the family from Grandpa Ken, I believe. Some of you may not know this about there's this specific gene in this family, in the DNA, it's in the lineage, in the heritage of this family. From Grandpa Ken, I think it came from, may even be further than that. But there was something called the read overboard gene. They just would do things overboard. If you collected something, like McDonald's toys, they had to have the complete set. And this is something that carries on in this family, and I'm sure these little ones here it'll be passed on to them as well. Joanne breezed through school and graduated from South Delta Secondary in 2000. She was super smart and excelled at mathematics. It just came easy for her. She got pre-approved for university before the end of grade 12, so she didn't study as hard for provincials because she was already in. She started to be driven around by Leah in those early years, who always had an errand or two to run, but she didn't mind, sis jumping in. They started going to Canucks games together, concerts. She wasn't a super popular person, but she made really great friends. Long life friends. In these years, her love for hockey really grew. She loved the Canucks, going to the games occasionally with Dad, and as we heard, with sisters, or watching the games on TV. Another fond memory was an amazing trip to Scotland and England with Grandpa Ken, his wife Nancy, and cousin Matt. They made sure to visit the historical sites, as we heard, traveled all about connecting with family members, got to see Edinburgh and where her granny Dorothy was born and was raised, and where she married Grandpa Ken. Joanne always spoke with joy about that trip and about learning of her lineage. 2004 brought with it challenge and strife as the family had to bear the illness and eventual passing of Dad. However, with his absence came a deeper level of love and family connection, as loss tends to do. His memory continues to live on, and only God knows how grateful each of you are for Bill and for Wendy, because without them you wouldn't have Joanne. She always remembered her dad's big laugh. As I jump into the relationship here with James, as he so eloquently shared in his tribute, they met in 2005. He accredits all his growth to this beloved woman. They've done Disney countless times. I guess it was in 2009 that he actually popped the question. Married in 2010. He was 30, she was 27. Perfectly done. Everyone talks about that wedding and the great time that was had. 2014, Joanne got pregnant, and apparently that was his adult button. And all of a sudden, there's the family SUV. They bought the house. I love what he said. He said, James said, Cassie healed me. He started to think about what I could still do instead of what have I lost in his life. Joanne got pregnant again in 2017. They had Charlie in 2018. And he shared a little bit about that meeting in the doctor's office and how they got the results and what that was like, and the horror that he witnessed when he looked into his wife's eyes. But she was a fighter. She was a giver. She continued to give, but never give in, never give up. Throughout those challenging years, all sorts of growth was at their fingertips, all sorts of pain, all sorts of everything. And to see this man get up here and speak the way he did, it shows me that there's some healing that has occurred already. You know, in her SFU years, she worked some time for the Vancouver Whitecaps. She appreciated her time there. As the head of volunteer program, she got to be a personal chaperone for David Beckham. I'm sure she loved that. I'm sure any of you would love that. I actually would love that. Never mind. You know, she had a big responsibility there. She also took care of the LA Galaxy for their exhibition games here in Western Canada. She took care of the English soccer team. She got hired to work as part of Surrey's 2010 Olympic team, and afterwards stayed on again helping with volunteer management. It was a pivotal time for her in her work career as she learned a lot. I think it was around then she decided that she actually wanted to play hockey, but first needed to learn how to skate. She did that, and she learned how to play hockey. She always wanted to. James said that his friends, they got together and a ragged assortment of gear and gifted it to her, and she was off to the races. It wasn't long before she was running James' team too. Then she organized hockey tournaments for 5 years. You know, the male and female team that would go up to Apex. There was lots of stories there, but really it was all about partying. And those always bring with them great stories. You know, as James so eloquently mentioned, she just got stuff done. She just got it done. And she did all of this while sharing her love with each and every one of you. For James, living life to the fullest for as long as she could. You know, Joanne worked at the city of Surrey, enjoying her tenure there and making many friends along the way. There's a tribute here that came from Yalda. It says, Yalda's part of the community engagement team. She's the manager there. It says, to the incredible friend, colleague, and confidant, Joanne's confidence, her amazing ability to connect with people, and her genuine love and commitment to work was clearly visible to anyone who saw her for the first time. I met her for the first time upon her return back to work from maternity leave with Cassie. We sat together for our meeting, and I knew I was in the presence of someone incredible. My admiration for her as a colleague grew as she described her work experience with the Olympics, where she spent long hours at work, her planning techniques, her scheduling, and training of hundreds of volunteers to deliver the incredible events. Joanne brought that same level of enthusiasm, energy, and commitment to her new role in FEST. Soon after she began her new position, she started to build great relationships with over 100 event organizers and partner agencies. She was the biggest asset to the FEST committee, the biggest asset, and a subject matter expert where colleagues and community groups relied upon her tremendously. She goes on to write that Joanne was fearless and never said no to trying new things in her role. She took on the managing an electronic dance music festival at Holland Park, with having more than 20,000 attendees. Excuse me. Can't always rely on technology. With over 20,000 attendees. She also took on the Surrey's Vaisakhi parade with over 50,000 people in attendance and assisting with many long-lasting events in the Civic Plaza. Somehow she always seemed to do an impossible with a big smile on her face and created this amazing fun atmosphere for anyone that was around her. Joanne's love and commitment to her family radiated through in every conversation that we had. She was a proud wife and talked about James and their adventures on a regular basis. Her fierce love and commitment to her daughters was evident by anyone that knew her at work. It was so natural for her to be a mom, and it seemed seamless for her to manage work and take care of her young family at the same time. She just did it all with grace. When we first met, I was pregnant with my daughter, and soon after, Joanne became a trusted parenting mentor. She advised me through sleep training, to feeding, and later on, helping me in choosing a daycare and the registration process. She did not hesitate, sharing her resources and ideas about how to pack lunches and after-school classes. She was always willing to lend a hand when needed. Over the past 2 years, we would regularly talk about Cassie and Charlie, knowing how Joanne was savoring every milestone in her girl's life. I looked up to Joanne from the first day we met. Her maturity and determination at work, her love for her children and family, and her bravery till her last day made her a one-of-a-kind person. I will miss our late-night random texts about Surrey politics, hot gossips that she got from her different chat groups, to her always finding the best deals for anything to do with kids' programs and activities. Till we meet again, Joanne, you were a beautiful person who made this world a better place. Thank you, Yelda, for those words. Not too long after all of this, the beauty that continued in her life revolved strictly around her girls, her husband, and oh, what joy the two of you brought to her. You were like the beat in her heart and the sparkle in her eye. She loved nothing more than to be with the two of you, playing Legos, reading stories, watching Disney. Whether it was making lunches or enjoying snacks or crafting with Granny and Mom, it was all about the two of you. Her passion, first and foremost, was her family. It's all that mattered. And she would do anything and did everything she could, right through to that final breath. Cassie and Charlie, and believe it or not, but you two are the most important people in this room right now. And Mom would want you to know that. She had a gift of making people feel important, valued, and worthwhile, no matter who you were, no matter what you were going through. You could count on Joe. That loyalty, that friendship, that genuine, authentic spirit, more beautiful than these flowers. Joe, we wish for you everlasting peace. We thank you for all you gifted us while you were here. We will cherish your memory of you till our last breath. Rest in power. Rest in paradise. Rest easy, Jojo. Rest easy. Let's take a break from the speaking, folks. We're going to dim the lights and watch this beautiful tribute that's been put together in memory of our beloved here today.
I wish I was a neutron bomb for once I could go alone. I know someday we must go on. Oh, I'm a lucky man to count on both hands the ones I love. Some folks just have one, yeah, others they got none. Stay with me, oh, let's just breathe. Practiced on my sins, never gonna let me win. Under everything, just another human being. Yeah, I don't wanna hurt. There's so much in this world to make me bleed. Stay with me, oh, all I see. Did I say that I need you? Did I say that I want you? Or if I did, I'm a fool, you see. No one knows this more than me. As I come clean, I wonder every day as I look upon your face. Everything you gave and nothing you would take. Nothing you would take. Everything you gave. Did I say that I need you? Oh, did I say that I want you? Oh, if I did, I'm a fool, you see. No one knows this more than me. As I come cleaner. Nothing you would take, everything you gave. Hold me till I die, meet you on the other side.
If we could just put the image back up, please, Josh. Thank you so much. Wow, the memories, the pictures, that smile, those eyes will forever be missed, but forever remembered. When we think back to them, we might get the same feeling we had when we got to hear her voice or when we got to look into her eyes. You'll be able to feel it. I know it's tough to get up and speak right after such an emotional video, so I'm going to give Uncle Ken a break here for a moment. But if he could be ready, I'll just read a tribute that came forward. And I want to make sure that there's an opportunity for anyone out there that may wish to share a word or two. I know it's tough to conjure up the courage to come. I can bring the mic to you if you'd like that. That way you don't have to turn around and see everybody looking at you. But I always empower people to try and share a memory or story. Remember, it's for the people in this front row. It's for these little girls to say, wow, that's what people thought of my mom. Wow, that's how my mom touched their life. Wow, that's the difference she made. So I hope there may be one or two of you that will come forward. But this tribute, before I invite Uncle Ken, it's from Megan. It says, Joanne, words will never be enough to tell everyone how awesome you were. You were an amazing mother, wife, co-worker, and friend. You were so easy to get along with, and I will never forget the day we looked at each other and at the same time stated, "Coffee? Walk? Now?" We couldn't even get outside City Hall before we both realized that we were pregnant at the same time. Soon after, we realized that we all drank the same water in the office, and 4 of us were all pregnant at the same time. You and I even sharing the same due date. You have always been one of the strongest people I know, and you fought so hard to get more time with your 2 baby girls and James. You are inspiring. You have left an impact on this world, and your family and I will always take the time to remember you. Our late night chats, Amazon midnight Prime Day sales, mini-mock warehouse shopping in the rain, endless coffee break chats, softball tournaments, watching our girls play hockey against each other. I will miss you so much, but I know your amazing personality will shine through these beautiful girls of yours. Till we meet again, my friend. Thank you for those words from Megan. Okay, I'm going to invite Uncle to come forward. If you're ready, you're up, my friend. Right this way. Appreciate you. And then following that, I do have another tribute, but if there is someone, just gesture to me. I'll make sure you have an opportunity to come forward. I'm going to avoid that awkward silence when nobody comes. I'll keep talking and you'll gesture to me, and then I'll invite you to come, okay? Thanks so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. As Godwin said, I'm Uncle Ken. I am Joanne's and by marriage, James's uncle, Wendy's brother, along with Doug and Grant here in the audience today. And when we first learned about Joanne's diagnosis 3 or so years ago, we did what our family always does. We rallied around food. This particular rally was around the white spot down in South Surrey, and we ate, we talked, we offered support, wanted to find out what we could do. And I said to Joanne, I sort of pulled her aside at one point, and I said towards the end of the gathering, I said, you go to see your other uncles and your mother for sage wisdom. I don't have that. There's very little that I can offer you, but I can put you on my email list. And I think I can make you laugh. I should point out also that I'm known as the uncle who said, "What?" So Joanne said, "Yes, please," right away. And she sent me her email, and I put her on my email list. Now, a quick word about my email list. There's about 35 people on it. Anybody who wants to be on it, here, come and see me after. But there's about 35 people on it, and it ranges in everything from the cute little puppies and kittens, all the way up to, holy cow, that is so politically incorrect. I can't believe he sent that. And I tear it out. I filter through who I send it to and who I don't. So I started to include Joanne on my list. A week went by, no reply. Another week went by, and I'm sending her stuff almost every day. Those of you on my list know. Then 2 or 3 weeks later, I started to get some. Joanne started to reciprocate. She didn't say thanks or anything. She just started to send me stuff. And I was like, wow, this is really good. I got to send this on right away. This is great. And there were some that were, holy cow, I can't send this to everybody. And then there were some that were, raised my eyebrows. Those of you that know me know what a challenge that is to go. So one time I went back to Joanne and I said, does your mother know you send these? I had barely hit the send button and Joanne came back and said, who do you think I get them from? Myth shattered, Wendy, sorry. Joanne was also always teaching things, and anybody who knew her knows that she had that ability, whether she was doing it consciously or not. One of my educational experiences, and I think it was for my wife Lisa and I both, and I can't remember what the family gathering was. It may have been one of our great Thanksgiving gatherings at Grandpa and Nancy's place on Miramar in Sydney. Wherever it was, we were there. Joanne, Leah, Christine were there. And Grandpa came into the room. Our dad, their granddad. And they adored Grandpa. Grandpa was absolutely wonderful. But they said as Grandpa came into the room and we were on the other side of the room, and of course there was food there, so had to make space for that. And, Grandpa's here, Joanne said. And I didn't quite hear that right, and so I said, and she was getting support from Leah and Christine. Yeah, Grandpa's here. I guess we better go see him. And I said, well, you love Grandpa, what's the issue? Little known secret that I had never known before. Joanne says, almost embarrassingly, and almost very difficult to say, Grandpa licks his lips before he kisses us. And you know when somebody says something to you and you hear them crystal clear, perfect, beautifully, and you still go, pardon? Or in this day and age, you utter 3 initials and the first 2 are W and T. So I said, what do you mean? He said, don't you know? And I said, he's my dad. He hasn't kissed me since I was about 2. So no, I don't. He licks his lips before he kisses us. Yeah. And I said to my wife, Lisa, I said, is this true? Because he doesn't do it to me. And she goes, I never noticed, but yeah, he does. So naturally, in this room that we're in, all of a sudden, I block out everything. And I have to watch now. As Dad comes in, as they go up, and I watch, and everything else is blocked out. And it's like, imagine a BBC documentary, and your eyes are that zoom camera that just locks right in, super slow motion, and I don't know, maybe David Attenborough or James Earl Jones. I pick Steve Irwin. As the two approach each other, just at the last second, Joanne turns from the mouth to the cheek, offers the cheek, and he had to watch it, otherwise you would have missed it, but the quick flip from there, right? And I can hear Steve Irwin going, crikey, that's a quick tongue. But what was once seen cannot be unseen. And ever since, I had to watch. Every time that was like, wow, he really does. And I learned 2 things from that experience. Number 1, my dad did that. Not out of anything other than perfectly innocent and want to, have dry chapped lips on their cheek, I guess. I don't know. The other thing I learned was not to do that myself. Joanne, always teaching. James, your Facebook tribute was breathtakingly beautiful. You knocked it out of the park. Or to use a hockey vernacular, you buried the puck in the back of the net. And you made a couple of vows on that. So we have a couple of vows to make to you today. And I'm sure I'm not alone in doing this. Number one, you will not be alone in keeping those vows. You will get help wherever and whenever you need it. We are only a call or a text or an email away. And I know I speak for pretty much everybody in this room. And the other vow is that we've heard enough times today, several times, about how Joanne was a warrior when it came to cancer. And cancer made a mistake when they picked her. She went on her own terms, but she also brought a legion of warriors with her. So let's all be warriors, and let's all fight dirty. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful. I personally probably would not like my cheeks scratched up by chapped lips, so it was very thoughtful of him, actually. I know there is someone here that is wanting to come forward. I think it was Loren. Before I do that, I'm just going to read Anna's tribute. So many of you have come forward to help with today and getting this all organized, so thank you for everything you've done. It means the world to this family. Anna writes, what I'll miss the most about Jo is every time that when we spoke, she would always say to me, "Hey, you." It was something special we shared. I'll miss our Reiki treatments, which she was totally into. I miss how she would call and say, "I'm coming for lunch," and she would always bring chicken strips from Cactus. She always asked me about how I was and less concerned about how she was despite everything she was going through. There was nothing she couldn't do at work. If I had computer problems and was struggling for an hour, she would come solve it in a minute, but never make me feel inadequate. When I found out that Joanne got the position as coordinator and would be leaving, I was in a meeting and I looked at her in a meeting and said, "You made me fall in love with you." Then we both burst into tears and everyone left us alone. That special friendship stayed there until the end and will be there always. Thank you, Anna, for your words. So I wanted to just make sure if there was someone, you'll just gesture to me. Thank you. Please come forward. I appreciate you. And I know we've exceeded our time here, so we won't go much further. But if you'd like to come forward, you would like me to bring the mic? Okay, thank you kindly. And then maybe we'll have time for one or two more as we slowly begin to wrap up. Thanks so much.
I need my glasses. Good afternoon, everyone. To the Simmers family and Joanne's family, I send my deepest blessings from the bottom of my heart. I came to know Joanne from a phone call one day on approval of a friend that asked if I would assist with Joanne through cancer. At the age of 41 years old, I was diagnosed with stage 3 aggressive breast cancer. I will be 60 years old in 1 month, and I had the honor and most humble of pleasure to coach Joanne through her journey. We chatted a lot, and in the 2.5 years that I coached her, I learned so much about her and about myself. I am also a skating coach to both Cassie and to Charlotte, and it was absolutely joyous for me to be able to be on the ice with both girls and teach them how to skate and learn a sport that both their parents loved so much. Joanne and I often talked about so many things. I could honestly write a book. But the one thing that comes to mind that I'd like to share with you today is the story about the Tree of Life. I came across this picture when I was in HomeSense at one point, and there was a girl who was packing out this massive round mirror that was the Tree of Life. And I asked her, where did you get that? I need to have that picture. It was a mirror, it wasn't a picture. And so became the quest of Joanne and her tenacity and sheer and utter determination to find that mirror. And so her and Wendy went to work, and lo and behold, if Wendy did not find that mirror in Toronto on a site that they put out a quest to find it, and hence the journey began to find and get that mirror back to Vancouver. I phoned a friend who went to HomeSense to buy it. He couldn't fulfill his promise, which was okay, and so I got to work, and Joanne and I worked at trying to get that mirror of life back to Vancouver. It came via Toronto to Hamilton, from Hamilton on a courier to the Toronto airport, and a pilot friend of mine flew it home to Vancouver, and it sits on my dining room wall in my house to this day. There's not one day that goes by that I'm not grateful for finding that mirror, and it all came through the link of Joanne and her mom. I want to read you the symbolism of the Tree of Life because it symbolizes what Joanne meant to me and how linked together we all truly are in this journey of a lifetime. The Tree of Life symbol represents our personal development, uniqueness, and individual beauty. Just as the branches of a tree strengthen and grow upwards to the sky, we too grow stronger, striving for greater knowledge, wisdom, and new experiences as we move through life. From all of us being together in this room today to celebrate Joanne's Tree of Life, I think you would all agree with me that her roots here are deeply entrenched, and those of us will carry on the torch that she carried on in her heart. I have loved getting to know her family. I love James like a brother, and I love the children that she had that I never got to have. I made a promise to Joanne that I will always be a skating coach and a guidance to her daughters forevermore. Thank you for allowing me to share my story. I love Joanne like the sister I never had, and 2.5 years, we put a lifetime into that friendship. As you all leave today, I really do pray from my heart that you will take a piece of the link of what Joanne meant to you, and when you have a troubled soul or have a hard time seeing through, that you're able to draw energy and love from the message and legacy that she left here on earth. God's richest blessings and warmest blessings to you and your families.
Thank you so much. So again, just gesture to me if you'd like to have a quick word or share a quick memory or story. I do like to get some crowd participation, so I'm going to do that. I want to just share, when I asked, or when the question was asked to Cassie and to Charlotte, what's the first word that comes to mind when you think of mom? Well, Cassie said loving and helpful. She's a good hockey player. First thing that Charlotte thinks of is the words, I love you, and kind. And then she said, champion, because I saw pictures with a trophy. Thank you for that. So I ask you, what's the first word? Just yell it out from where you are. What's the first word that comes to mind when you think of Joe? Given. Sweet. Inspirational. Sweden? Okay. Sorry? Strong. Love. Tenacious. Humor. Caring. Thank you. How wonderful to be remembered this way. How beautiful for a mother, for daughters to hear those words. That's why we do this. And you guys are doing great. I'm so grateful that you're bearing the length of what it takes to truly commemorate a life, to celebrate a life. Please, sir, we'll come forward and we'll ensure you're the last as we want to get to the food.
James, family. My wife and I, we live right beside James and Joanne. So we've had a very unique perspective of what's been going on beside us. We have memories. We have memories of ambulances coming by. We have memories of walking out front and asking the tried and true, how are you? Always hoping for the next time things are better. We were there when they bought their first place, when they first came over. They were doing their renovations. Those are memories that we have. I have memories, and James, forgive me, but walking with a beer, with a cart, with the kids in the back of the cart going down to the mail. Had to do it. I couldn't resist it. So we all have memories. Now, I don't have as much of a rapport with Joanne during the times. My wife has a much better rapport over that. But as my wife said, what are you going to say? Well, the thing is, I have one memory that I want to share with you. The one memory that I will always carry with me. We have a back deck, and I like to go out there in the summertime and read a book. And one time, Cassie and John were coming towards the fence, and Cassie was asking questions. And tenacity, someone brought up the point that she's a teacher, so she answered the first question. And then the second question. And there was a little bit of a pause. I started to read again. So the third question came by. Then the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. I got the book down, and I'm going, okay, now we're having every question answered in detail with no any amount of, well, Cassie, we need to move on, or something of that nature. It was patience that I had never experienced from any other person. And that is the one memory that I will cherish from this point on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So what will it be for you? Will it be her dressed in her hockey gear? Will it be her smiling? Will it be her laughing? What will you hold on to? They say tears are memories in motion. So when you're tearing up, that's her coming through. We say farewell to the physical being, but everything that she was while she was here is still yours as she takes up new residence in your hearts and in your minds. She loved the color purple. She loved the good vodka cran. She loved the good Disney flick. She loved Pearl Jam. She loved Mom's tea. She loved sweets and peaches. All of the things. James, when I read your post as well, I was brought to tears. She died holding my hand while I stroked her head. Her mom had her other hand. I just stared into her eyes with a big smile for 10 to 15 minutes and told her how much I loved her, how grateful and thankful I was for her. It was peaceful. I never thought that death could be so beautiful, but it was. And we may not all have that opportunity, and some of you may have experiences that were far different than that. But today, our hearts are warmed by that, to know that this was a family that surrounded her. Even before that day, a family that got together, apparently to eat. But hey, the best connection and the greatest family times are around a meal. And that's something that she loved to do with her family. To Wendy, no parent should have to go through what you're going through. You lost your soulmate, and now your beloved daughter. And I know that it's tough. I know you'll miss comparing your Wordle scores, chatting about the girls or the latest crafting project, or just random talks to pass the time. I know you look forward to her calls, and you'll miss them. But I'm confident that you, or anyone here, if you want to see JoJo again, if you want to hear her voice, just go have a chat with her daughters. She'll shine through for you. To James, you're a bigger man than me, sir. And I love how you walk with this doubt, but I know that you got this. And with this support that sits behind you now, you are not alone. So thank you for that message, Uncle Ken. It's beautiful. So family and friends, as we wrap up, on behalf of the Sinwedens, thank you for being here. Your gestures of kindness, the condolences, the funds raised, whatever it may be, maybe you just called. Please know that it doesn't go unnoticed, those gestures. And I want them to continue. There's going to be tough days, Christmases, anniversaries, Mother's Days, Father's Days, you name it. Just a call to say, you know what? I thought of Jo today. Something happened and she just popped into my mind, and I just wanted to call and let you know that she's still living on in my heart. That's going to make a difference for them, so do that. The other thing I need you to do is when you get to the reception, you're going to see the memories book and the guest book. Yes, we're done. You're going to see the memories book and the guest book. Yeah, I know. You're going to not just sign your name, but write a memory in there and envision these girls opening that book and reading it about how Mom touched your life. So please fill it out till it's full. There is a reception to follow, so just when you leave here, you can exit to the doors, through the doors, and this way is the fastest way, apparently. Either way, there will be signs to the reception hall. Again, on behalf of this family, thank you. If Jo could be here, what would she want to say to each and every one of you? She would simply say that no one is promised tomorrow, so we need to enjoy today. So in the words of Jo, I love you all, and keep me in your hearts. And if you could repeat the following words after me. There may always be a heartache, and often a silent tear, but forever precious memories of the days when Jo was here. I'll hold her close within my heart, and there she shall remain, to walk with me throughout my life, Until we meet again.